The show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. I'm Arif Halaby along with Jeff Gerard, and your place for news, talk, information. That's what your hometown station, KHTS, is all about, talking about your family's finances. Of course, getting out of debt, managing money, planning for your future. It's not a simple process, but it does happen time and again when you're making the right decisions, right? So at least more right decisions than bad decisions. Because if you're like all of us, and I stand in front of that line, you're the person who has made a few bad decisions, financially speaking, and you're trying to fix it. You're trying to move forward. Christmas holiday season is not an easy time to be reminded about some dumb decisions we've made. I don't know if that's the right one. Can we use that on the air?
You just
dumb?
Did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
There's no way to take it back?
That was your outside voice.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Well, so then let's not make any more dumb decisions. And we're going to talk about a few things. I want to get into some of the scams that are happening this holiday season as well. We'll do that at the bottom of the hour. In addition to that, I want to touch on what we call, for some people, the death lotto.
Incredible.
Yeah. Why do we call it the death lotto?
Because in a lot of cases, it takes someone's passing to have an enormous amount of money, more than most people have ever seen in their lives at times, flood right into their hands. And the next question is, what do you do with it?
Well, look, history goes through a process of telling us things that happened and sometimes things that shouldn't have happened. And often we say, well, by looking at that history, by looking at not making a bad decision, many of us have experienced some things that say, listen, I am not good at managing money. Right? How many times have you sold that house, you refinanced your house? That's usually where big chunks of money come from. Yeah. And you blew it. We're never going to get into credit card debt again. We paid off everything. We understand it. We're living within our means. And 18 months later, you're right back in the same boat. I don't think the problem is chunks of money coming into your life now and again, whether it's pay raises or bonuses or tax refunds. I don't think that's the benefit that most people are missing, because that happens. What I think happens is you mismanage that. Because when it does happen, and often, and we're going to talk about this in a second, when somebody passes away and you're inheriting a chunk of money, whether it's life insurance or whether it is a retirement account, whatever it might be, there's a chunk of dollars coming your way. When that happens, how do we keep from blowing it? And I want to say that a lot of it is habits.
I was going to say you're right on, and you taught me that many, many moons ago. It's the habits that we form before we are afforded that opportunity that really will tell us what we're going to do with that. The common denominator in a lot of these scenarios, though, Arif, I'm seeing is this is money that we didn't earn. Somebody else earned it and died and passed that on to us, or we got lucky with a lottery ticket, or we refinanced a house as if we did something, right? And all of a sudden there's this magical equity in the house and we pull it out, and this is a windfall that we didn't scrape and sacrifice in most cases and put money off to the side and go without spending it so that we can amass this amount of dollars and value it differently because that was at the fruit of our labor.
And I think there is an ownership, a kinship, if you will, to money that you have worked for. Ask your kids when they have worked for their money, and then you take them to an amusement park and they say, I want to buy this or play this game, that where most people lose, or you get a 50-cent item and you got to spend $2 to get some little piece of junk,
right,
toy or something. And when you do that, you sit down with your kids, they'll spend your money all day long.
All day.
But when you say, hey, you have $20 to spend today and this came from your piggy bank, if you want to spend it on this game, fine, you can do that, but you're never going to see this money again. Well, maybe I don't want to spend it on that. Maybe I'm not interested in putting it in that. Right? So there's a little bit of a trade-off there when it's your own money. There's a commitment, there's a connection. But I think for many of you, and especially I'm talking to the ladies, the women, you're going to end up being the beneficiary of lots of money, whether it be through a divorce. It happens. Men, it happens, sometimes they get it as well. But more importantly, it happens because men pass away sooner. And in a traditional, it's not everybody's this way, but in a traditional relationship, when a husband is 2, 3, 4, 5 years older than a wife or more, he's going to pass away sooner anyway at the same age. Add 10 or 11 years to the age difference, and you can expect to live 2 decades, 20 years, 15, 20, 30 years, longer without your spouse. I know it's not something we want to talk about, ladies, because there's accidents and other things that happen that can, modify things. And men, yes, sometimes we pass away earlier. We live and women pass away earlier. I know that. We're speaking of in general. And in all of the cases, you have to learn how to manage the money that comes your way. Because often, especially if it comes in the form of a death claim, it's not the lotto. And it isn't money that's going to keep coming every single year or every single month. Often it's a one-time chunk of dollars, life insurance or 401k. And so those dollars have to be managed properly. Now here's the rub, though. You don't have a choice when the tax man comes knocking. Both the state of California and the federal government, they're trying to do tax reform. We'll see, right? There's always going to be winners and losers. If you think any tax plan that comes through any place, you're going to like 100% of it, you're just not living in the real world. Unless it's the king and you're the king, or it's a country and you're the only inhabitant, then you can pass whatever rule you want. But of course some people are going to pay more taxes. Of course some people are going to be hit a little bit more. Of course the government's going to have to stop spending more money. Okay, it's not going to be the way you would do it because you're not the president and the Speaker of the House and the Senate leader, right? So I get it, the conversation about, I don't like this part of the tax bill. Oh, well, surprise, called living in America. Do you like everything your husband or wife does? Of course not. So you're married to those people. You're not going to like everything the president or the Speaker of the House does. So 51%, if you like or can agree with 51%, then maybe that's the answer. I don't know. Maybe for you it's more, but I think 51% is a pretty good number. So next, and with that conversation, is expect to have some of the money, depending on where it comes from, right? Expect to have some of the money have to be paid in taxes, especially if you're inheriting a 401k or an IRA. In other words, pre-tax money. You don't get to just keep all of it. Oh, there's $250,000 and you go buy something for $250,000. No. You're going to have to pull that money out of the account, pay taxes at whatever level you're at. And if you pull a lot out, you're going to pay a lot of taxes. But you're going to be required to take a certain amount out. That is not going to change. Depends on how old you are, how old the person was that passed away. There's some other little rules in there. But eventually you'll be required to pull money out of that account, whether you like it or not. Whether you need it or not, whether you want it or not, tough luck. So just know how to manage that. So important to have a team, a part of your plan, a CPA or a tax preparer, maybe a trust lawyer or some sort of an attorney that kind of manages the estate, the legal parts of things, right? If needed. Maybe an insurance professional, maybe a financial advisor. You're going to need people. Maybe it's just a phone call. Maybe it's a full team meeting. Right? A friend of mine is handling a case that's significant. It's nearly $100 million. It's a huge number. He had to assemble an entire team. Wouldn't that make sense to you? Of course.
Sure.
This couple have never dealt with that much money in their life. So they don't know the details, the risks, the pitfalls, the problems, how many relatives are going to come out of the woodwork who are going to just need a loan. It's just a loan.
Right.
Fine. You know what? If it's a loan, sign over your car or your house, and I'll hold the pink slip or the deed. And when you pay it off, you can come pick it up.
That's right.
Oh, wait. You don't think that's fair? I had somebody do that to me recently.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Arif, I just need a loan. I said, great. How much? $10,000. I said, well, that's a lot of money, man. Do you have anything you can put as collateral? Well, I have this and this. Okay, that's no problem. Well, I don't want to do that. I'll just pay you back. I said, well, first of all, I'm not a bank. I love you. I'll help people out, right? But $10,000 isn't helping out. That's selling a child or a kidney. and I don't have an extra one of either of those. So just ask yourself that question, right? If you become the person who inherits lots of money, a house, a property, a retirement plan, you may have, at least one of the pitfalls is people coming out of the woodwork. The family you never knew cared about you, suddenly they do.
Well, and that's why I like the part where you're talking about having a team, because Now you have a sounding board. You have somebody that's not emotionally attached to this money, or your relatives, or whoever claims to be a relative or long lost relative, as a buffer. And they're saying, hey, well, let's look at this from a business standpoint. Does this make sense fiscally and financially? What's it for? Now you can go back to that person, and whether you take their advice or not, look, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's your money. If it's your money and you want to give it all away, you can give it all away. Just don't leave yourself destitute, or give to a point where, and I've seen this happen both with family members, with in-laws, with distant relatives, with friends. They will give to the point at which they've now caused a bigger problem, because they didn't solve the problem of the person that came to them that needed money. And now they're also out that money themselves, and it's never coming back. So to your point, Arif, I mean, if there's a way you can collateralize some of that, or look, you've said this a long time ago. I think you did a good portion of a radio show on this. If you're going to loan out money, loan in hanging quotes, make sure it's money that it's not going to hurt you if it never comes back.
That's right. Especially to a family or relative. And you have to be prepared to forgive that.
Right.
And if you can't, then the relationship needs to be considered more important than the money.
True.
I had years ago, I had a friend who was kind of like a brother to me. And he said, hey, Arif, I need to borrow. Same thing, $10,000. It's like
popular number.
Yeah, why not 9,462? I don't know why it's 10,000. I need to borrow $10,000. I couldn't afford to lose $10,000.
Right.
So I said, I can give you $1,000. And you pay it back when you can. And he was so offended. Can you imagine? He was so offended. He's like, no, there's nothing I can do with $1,000. Thanks anyway. And this is all before the internet, right? It was a phone call. I thought, you got to be kidding, really? I mean, you didn't ask if I could afford to lose $10,000. And his kids were nice, but they were grown. They're not cute anymore. They're adults. So you're stuck. I need cute kids. I'll hold them for collateral. But so part of this is to realize if you are okay with never talking and or seeing that person again, then loan them money. Because one way for you to make sure you get somebody away from you, and sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's really worth it, you might say, that brother-in-law, I don't want to see him anymore. Fine, give him money. Lend him a few bucks. He'll disappear because he doesn't want to see you. And if you want to create friends, right? If you're a lonely person and you want friends, borrow money from people. They'll call you all the time. They'll come visit. They're not always
out the Bank of Jeff.
Yeah, they're not going to always be pleasant, but darn it, if you borrow money, you can have more friends than you ever knew what to do with.
It's funny, not in a funny way, but a peculiar way, that it seems like no matter who we talk to that has inherited money, they always find, whether it's a family member or not, they find somebody with a business plan. They have this idea.
Yes,
they always have a plan, this idea that they've always wanted, but they just needed a little bit of money to get it off the ground. Boy, if I only had if I only had $20,000, man, I could really make this business scream. So you're going to have situations like that. And that's why we're really stressing the point of having somebody else that's not emotionally tied to that be a sounding board. I think it's essential. Otherwise, you're going to gift yourself to the poorhouse.
When we come back in a few minutes, I want to get into this idea and this concept of what do you do with, I don't know if it's called the death lotto, but are you going to treat the death of your spouse the same as if you won the lotto? Now, I get it. You're going to be pretty shocked. You're going to ask yourself, well, that's kind of rude. You know what is interesting? We're only dealing with this with 4 different families right now. 4, not 1, 4.
Yep.
And how do you plan for somebody to pass away? You don't. I mean, I don't care if they've been sick for a while. You still are taken aback by that. And then, oh, by the way, you are the trustee, which means you're the one responsible to close out their life, financially speaking. You have to pay off stuff. You have to sell things. You have to inventory stuff. That it's kind of a bit of a headache. People think it's an honor to be a trustee. Folks, let me tell you, it's a pain in the tush. If you really want to hurt somebody, you put them as the trustee. Don't tell them. And collect a lot of stuff. Hoard it in your garage, living room, and dining room.
Yep.
Just hoard it. Be a hoarder.
Lots of paper, too.
Newspaper.
Label the box important.
because they have to inventory everything. If you've gone through this, you know what I'm talking about. It's not an easy process, especially if you're emotionally healing through the passing of somebody, right? I mean, it's a bit of a challenge, right? Especially thinking to yourself, well, this person is, I care about them, and there are memories that are generated, and you're in the process of grieving, and there's deadlines, there's timelines, there's filing deadlines. There's a lot of those things that have to happen. And in the process of you grieving and going through that, by the way, you've got to manage the rest of whatever assets that are coming their way to give to other people or to yourself and your family, right? So there's some risks, some challenges there, but we want to talk about this and continue with this. The death of your spouse. Are you going to treat it like a lotto winning? You might say, I'm in my 50s. Ladies, the average age of a widow, it's in her 50s. The average age of a widow right now, I want to say it's between 54 and 58. Lady that just came to our office the other day, her husband died when she was 54. 30 years of marriage. Long time. All right. We're going to come back in just a minute as we continue. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Jeff Gerard. This is your place for news, talk, and information, your hometown station, KHTS. Again, Arif Halaby, Total Financial Hour. Our Safer Money. Be here. We'll be right back.
Mission Valley Bank puts the community in community banking. They strive to be your most trusted bank. Mission Valley Bank is happy to sponsor KHTS Holiday Music. Happy holidays!
KHTS Holiday Music also brought to you by Chiquita Canyon.
From all of us at Chiquita Canyon, we'd like to wish you and your family a happy, prosperous holiday season. This year, Chiquita Canyon is proud to sponsor holiday music on your local hometown station, KHTS. Happy holidays.
Did you know that nearly 1 in 3 women will experience domestic violence in her lifetime? And in Santa Clarita, our community supports its own domestic violence center with a shelter home, 24-hour crisis hotline, and bilingual counseling programs. If you or someone you know needs help, we're here. The 24-hour crisis hotline number is 259-HELP. For more information, go to dvcsantaclarita.com because no one should tolerate domestic violence. 259-HELP.
Visiting Angels is looking for quality caregivers and companions to join our growing team of compassionate, caring people providing care and assistance to Santa Clarita seniors. Our Angels help seniors with activities such as meal preparation, light housekeeping, personal care, and running errands. Visiting Angels takes pride in offering competitive wages, benefits, paid training, and flexible schedules. We have clients throughout Santa Clarita so you can work close to home. Details at visitingangels.com/Santa Clarita.
Visiting Angels, America's choice in home care.
Tucked away in Canyon Country is an upscale, intimate, unforgettable dining experience. Taste the wonders of Italy at Piccola Trattoria. This gem of a restaurant is our valley's best-kept secret, but not for long. The secret will be out once you've tasted their homemade pastas, pizzas, ossobuco, or their scrumptious sausage, fresh seafood, or steaks. Better save room for dessert. Your table will be fighting over who gets the final bite of their heavenly tiramisu. Piccola Trattoria, off Sierra Highway on Dolan Way. Your unforgettable dining experience.
Did you see that car?
Isn't it the best? A moving advertisement.
Command eye-catching attention with the vehicle wrap by Feathers. Feathers can turn your company vehicles into a cost-effective moving billboard. Their high-quality, high-resolution vehicle wraps deliver excellent marketing exposure. Feathers works closely with you to clearly display your message, whether it's for branding of a new product, increasing name recognition, or promoting an event. Feathers Vehicle Wraps gets the job done. Feathers on Soledad and Canyon Country across from Edwards Theaters.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call The Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
This is your place for news, talk, and information, your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Hey, welcome back to the show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. Okay, we're trying to keep you out of the debt, of course, out of debt, but also keep you out of making that mistake again. If you have been somebody who has refinanced your house, blown the money, paid off something, got back into debt, then you understand that it's not about the economy, your job, the food, shelter, clothing issues that you might have. It's about your habits. I know it's easy for me to say this across the radio because I'm not looking at you, and your financial guy, gal, team, whomever it might be, is probably never going to tell you because they want to keep your business. But if you're serious about trying to fix your financial life, you understand it's about your habits, right? Total Financial Solution. We have been in business, I don't know, 21 years now, probably 21 and a half years, I guess. Our office is located conveniently next to the radio station. In fact, we are partners in this building. You'll see us and a soon-to-be coming coffee shop and the radio station. So we're located right here in downtown Newhall. All right. When you sit down with us, our job is to help you eliminate risk and fees in your retirement accounts. Almost on a set it and forget it type of thing for the retirement, for the money that you're not going to need today, but maybe 2, 3, 5 years down the road before you start taking any money out of the accounts. Okay, that money we can help you with. But the idea is also for you to make sure that you properly insure your family. You know, I think there's a moral obligation that you have if you're a husband or a wife, but you are a breadwinner, or you will be somebody who accumulates a cost. Right? A lot of times guys will say, well, I don't think I need life insurance on my wife because she's a stay-at-home mom and we have 3 children. I say, okay, so if she passes away, who's going to watch the kids? Well, what do you mean watch the kids? Well, do you realize everything that your wife does, you're going to have to pay somebody for? Dinner, cleaning the house, taking care of the children. Oh, my kids are older, back and forth to school and to Boy Scouts and to Girl Scouts and church. And right, this isn't an easy adventure. So now you have to stay home, or you're going to pick up 2 jobs. So now they didn't just lose their mom, they lost their dad because their dad is gone 20 hours a day, working 2 jobs trying to make a living. So in my opinion, and in my experience, insuring the stay-at-home spouse is almost as important, if not more so, than the working spouse, because you have to have a backup plan. And when that bunch of money comes in, all those dollars have a job to do. You want some of it maybe for your children's college. Maybe you want some of it to pay off the house. Maybe you want some of it for your retirement or your future, or so that you don't have to work 2 jobs or you can work part-time, right? So there's reasons. Money has a purpose. I don't want you to think that there's this mission in life to accumulate as much money and toys and stuff and things and as much as you can, as fast as you can until the day you pass away. That's not it. And after you've lived more than 15 minutes in a very abundant society like we have here, where really what do you need for Christmas? Because you know that 2 months ago when you needed something, you went to the store and bought it. We're not in a society time, in a cycle of economic stuff, where most people are waiting until Christmas to get new shoes, waiting for Christmas or Hanukkah to get a new bicycle. You just kind of get it. Now, you might wait because you want your kids to feel that it's special coming on that day. But if they needed a new bicycle in February, you would have bought them a bike probably.
That's right.
Right? I mean, So think of Christmas, Hanukkah, the holiday season as a time for you to sit down and to reflect on what matters. And I think, as awkward as this might sound initially, I think making sure that your life insurance is up to date, both with beneficiaries. We'll do a future show on that, how many mistakes we see there.
Right.
But up to date with the beneficiaries, as well as up to date with the proper coverage. Maybe it's time, maybe some of those policies you have are going to be expiring soon because you've got them 8 or 10 or 20 years ago. So there is a time, use this time to share how much you love, because do you understand, in many cases, not all, but in many cases, the life insurance, you may not be the person to benefit from it. You will pay for it, but somebody else will receive the benefit, because in order for there to be a benefit, you would have had to pass away. Now today there are life insurance policies that have long-term care components associated with it, where you can sit down, you can actually say, hey, what if something happens to me and I'm still alive, I haven't passed away? Is there a way for me to have a long-term care benefit? Well, there is. There are actual policies with that component built into it.
And I think that's a great point to bring up, because a lot of people devalue life insurance in the sense that they think, well, I'll never benefit from it, just like you said. But there are policies and plans now that, and look, life insurance has been wildly revamped from, you talk about whole life. Everybody knows what whole life is because it's been around for 100 years, right? But there are programs like it that are less expensive, and they do more in the sense that they benefit the person that's alive. So I think that's an important part to bring into your financial world, because it can be a great supplement for your retirement or for other needs that might arise. One of the things I've said in the past to people is, the best thing you can do with a policy like this is die, because that's the only way you're going to see the benefit from it. And when they look at a new plan that's new and improved and has some enhancements that didn't exist 20 and 25 and 30 years ago, you might think you've had the best plan because you worked with that same person that your mom or your dad worked with, or that your grandparents worked with, and it's just been generation after generation you've worked with that same person. But are they offering you up-to-date policies? That's a great question to ask your financial or insurance professional.
And one of the worst things you can do is go to that same person who handles your auto insurance and insures your RV and your motorcycle and your home and say, oh, by the way, I want a life insurance policy. Now, why do I say that's one of the worst things you can do? Because they can only be good at something. What are they good at? Okay, maybe they're good at, they're good. They work for one of the big three, the State Farm, Farmers, Allstate. Great. Those great companies, not good companies. Great. But your agent has to be good at something that's insurance. But what are they great at? Cars? Homes? They're kind of similar. They're both property. Stuff? Okay. Renters? All right. But it's very difficult to find somebody who's great at life insurance and great at property stuff, because they're not the same.
Or if your agent might be a whiz, an expert in that, but they represent one company. And how competitive can that company be in how many areas? Because, okay, we're the lowest price in auto insurance. We're the lowest price in homeowners. You're also the lowest in life insurance. You're also the lowest in... When are they going to make any money?
That's right. If you go to any of the big box stores, you're going to see that there's a loss leader, right? You see it, milk for $1.50. All right, fine. They're not making any money on milk for $1.50.
Right.
But when you walk by the cookies and you walk by the pastries, or you get some vegetables, you see there's a place that they're going to make money. They're going to draw you in with one, and then they're going to make a profit on the others. That's business. That's capitalism. We've agreed to that. Oh, we don't have to go and get back in the car and drive across town to save 15 cents on bananas.
Right.
Fine, I'll buy bananas here. Right? So you have a process of how you shop for things, and you understand that. But consider this. In the idea of your financial life, in my opinion, it's better to have a small group put together. It's better to have an idea where your property insurance person is coordinating with your life insurance person. We're licensed for both. We specialize in life insurance. We can talk to you about the property insurance. We can even have a conversation and legally compare policies and make sure that they're doing the best for you and give it like a third eye view, right? Second opinion, got it. But you have to be great at something. And I don't want you to consider that being great at one area in your financial life, that the expert is going to be great at the other. Because one of these days, you're going to have a claim. And whether that claim is in your car being broken into, or your home being broken into, or a car accident, or somebody passing away. And if it's like somebody recently who contacted one of their agents who handled all of those things, they bundled it all. They made lots of money. Wonderful. And they said, hey, I need a form. I have to change my beneficiary around. He said, it's best that you just call the company directly. What? He goes, yeah, I just needed to adjust my life insurance. And the guy wouldn't even help me. He said, it's best to call the company directly and get a form. I said, well, gosh, what is he? What's he there for? Well, he just said, he would do the exact same thing. He would call the company, so why not just call directly? Well, because that's your job, sir, I guess. That's why. Somebody paid you for that already, right? You're getting paid every month, 7%, 10%. Right? You realize when you make your auto insurance or your homeowner's insurance payment, it's plus or minus about 10%. So if your homeowner's insurance is, I don't know, $2,000 a year, somebody's going to getting paid $200 or more. If your homeowner, your auto insurance is $250 a month. Somebody's getting paid $25 or $30 a month. So of course when you call once every 6 months for a question, they better darn well answer.
Sure.
They were paid for that. It's like the HMO world, right? HMO gets paid whether you show up or not. Like $6 a month.
Yeah.
HMO gets paid $8 a month, something like that. $30 a month is what it used to be. Maybe it's $10. So when you have the HMO plan, the doctor that you assign, pick a doctor, that doctor gets paid every month. Show up or don't show up. So yeah, he's going to get paid another $40 when this person comes in and they do x-rays or whatever they do. But he's been paid on all those other people that never even showed up, never even bothered to stop by, right?
Nice.
So it's the same thing with auto insurance. You never make a claim. Your agent is always getting paid.
Well, I think that's a good point you bring up, because part of that, the value of having an agent is having somebody in your corner. If you have to go to an 800 number, then I think there's a problem inherently there. So make sure you're working with someone that doesn't mind being hands-on and walking you through a process, whether it's a claim or looking for a new policy. And don't be afraid to get that second opinion. You don't have to tell your agent that you've been working with for 20, 30 years. Look, I have a family member that's been with one of the big three for over 30 years and refuses to change the auto or homeowners. And frankly, it's a competitive rate, so I don't think they should. They have the right coverage that they need, but when it comes to their life insurance, they know to shop outside because it's not as competitively priced. And the only reason they knew that is because I was able to kind of open their eyes a little bit to that.
Yeah, because the idea of one day receiving a claim, if you pay life insurance for long enough, we all are going to pass away. You realize that. Somebody will get paid on that life insurance. If you're the recipient of it, I want you to learn how to manage that properly. I want you to understand when a big chunk of dollars comes in, and by the way, you think $1 million is a lot of money, you're darn right. But now, imagine you're a 55-year-old lady with 2 teenagers. One of them college is, for sure, and maybe the other, maybe not. And she's worked part-time, took care of the home, took care of the kids. So it doesn't necessarily have lots of Social Security built up or another pension or anything like that. And that $1 million is you're now saying that is now going to be there for the rest of your life. Folks, $1 million is not the kind of money that you can expect it to be. When the average age of a widow is in her 50s, ladies, you've got to expect to live a long time managing the money yourself. And that means that you've got to have the right people as part of your life. So often the insurance agent is the same one who's going to be notified, of course, when there's a claim, who's going to be there and who's going to be walking with you and kind of going through this process on the claim and the paperwork side of things. So you have to make sure that you're answering those questions properly and make sure that what you're doing is not getting yourself, treating it like it's the lotto.
Well, because look at this, Arif. You get a great big check, $1 million. They say, okay, look, we've insured you. You paid your premiums all these years, and now we're going to make good on our obligation per our contract. Here's $1 million. And yes, that'll help wipe some of the tears while you're mourning, but now you have to translate that into how much of this can I spend? And how many times have we seen now, kind of wrapping all this together that we've been talking about today, you are endowed with this money. You are given this money. It's supposed to make you whole, right? But maybe your expenses were $80,000 a year and you're only allowed to spend $50,000. There's going to be a deficit. So what do most people do? They say, well, I'll just spend more money. And they're driving the balance of that account down. And I'll tell you, we've seen a lot of people, they're so scared that they just park it in the bank. So they're making, no interest at all. And they're spending down the money feverishly, whether they by default or by design, they're doing it. And there's no plan in place. So back to your point, Arif, of life isn't just about accumulating stuff or even wealth for that matter. Having a plan on the backside of whether it's the death of a spouse or when it comes time to retire, taking the money out, how you take out the money is just as important of a plan as accumulating the money in the first place.
Because part of the idea is this money is now a machine. It's now going to work. It's that it has replaced the going to work as your spouse would go to work every week. This money's now, its job is to go to work every week. And just like your spouse brought home a paycheck, your insurance proceeds or the retirement account, that's job is to bring home a paycheck. And if your spouse wasn't able to work and perform and create the kind of income, got laid off, the job doesn't exist anymore, right? Graphic artists, my gosh, those jobs just went away.
Sure.
They were making $60,000, $80,000 a year in the 90s. Today, very difficult to find a job. So what would you do? If your spouse was still alive and he or she was a graphic artist or graphic design, whatever, they would go retrain, go get a different job. Oh, wait, they still weren't making the same kind of living? They would adapt their lifestyle, right? They would say, we have to sell the big house. We have to sell the big car. We have to adapt our lifestyle. There's no difference than when your retirement account is giving you, or the life insurance proceeds is giving you a paycheck each month or each year, and you say, well, it's not enough for me to live on like this, so I'm going to either take out more money, which means the money's not going to last the rest of my life. It'll last until right around the time when I'm old enough to not have to work anymore. And, oh, by the way, I'm out of money, right? You're in your mid-60s and you're broke. So instead of that happening, we say, well, just adapt your lifestyle. You say, well, I don't want to adapt my lifestyle. I want to sell my house just because my spouse died. The kids like this area. It's their friends. It's the school district. Then you need more life insurance.
That's right.
It's not a secret. It's a math problem. 1 + 1 is 2, right? To my friends, I always say my friends on the left, my progressive friends, I don't care what you do, 1 + 1 is always 2.
Yeah.
Whether you want it to be 3, whether you're passionate about it's 4, or 1 + 1, you're going to have a sign that says, all kids should go to college for free. Well, great. You tell the professors not to get paid. I'm okay with that, right? I mean, I'm not a professor. I wouldn't like it. But if everybody in the system agrees, the administrators aren't going to make any money, people are not going to get paid anymore, right? Then let it be free. I don't care.
Well, you just really have to back into your need. And I think once you've identified your need, which is one of the most important things you can do in this process, you can forego a lot of this guessing game after it's too late, because you can't go back and buy more insurance. You can want more insurance, but typically people, I've never heard someone say, wow, they had way too much life insurance when that person passed away. So think about that for a second, and think about the other side of the conversation, which people say, oh, I can't afford to, and you fill in the blank, save for retirement, buy life insurance, whatever have you. When you get to that moment of need, you would have done anything in arrears to make sure that this need right now is filled. So think about that going into it. One of the things that we see most often, one is the proceeds from someone passing away being spent down too quickly. But the other thing is not having enough in the first place. How do you do that? Well, just have the conversation now. What is a good baseline, Arif, if someone is looking to replace some income? What would you tell them? What would you suggest to them? What would be a good foundational start when they're trying to pick a number for replacing spousal income with life insurance?
The normal rule of thumb, and you can go up or down from here, but the normal baseline and beginning marking place is this: 10 times your income, gross, and $100,000 per child. That's the middle. You want to add to that? You want to say, I'm going to add my house mortgage to that? $500,000 you owe on the house? Add $500,000 to that. So there's a movement there, but the idea is that the money has a job to do. I can't stress this enough. I can't tell you how many times, even really good financial people that I sit down with and I say, our client is doing this and this and this, so what's the purpose? He goes, what do you mean? I go, what's the purpose of this account? You have her invested in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, risk and fees, and they're paying $1,200 a month. What's the purpose of this account? They say, well, I don't know, just to let it grow. We want it to grow. We want it to grow. We want it to be lots of money. Well, listen, I want it to be 6'2", and right? Some of these things aren't going to happen. It's kind of late. But you have to look at this and say, what's the purpose of the life insurance? If the purpose of the life insurance is to buy time so the spouse can get back into his or her career, or to just push the kids through college and then they're going to sell the house and downsize, great, then that's a math problem. You can just add it up and then that's the amount of life insurance you need. If you're saying, listen, I'm going to take care of these funds so that they last forever, or 20 years or 30 years, then you should do that. The government should have zero, not a little, zero role in this conversation with you, except for their taxes, right? You're going to have to pay taxes on some money, maybe not the life insurance, of course. That's tax-free. But on the retirement accounts, there could be some taxable issues. So you're going to want to have that conversation and figure out, is there an impact on some of your retirement? Most of the time, the answer is no. But on the interest that you earn or the growth of the money that you have in a life insurance policy, that could be taxable.
Sure.
Not the money that you receive, but maybe as it's growing. So you want to meet with your tax preparer, your tax professional, and say, hey, here's the story. Here's where I am. Does this make sense or not?
Well, and I think that you're bringing up a couple good points, and we'll touch on those when we come back from the break. But having a healthy balance of life insurance to take care of some of the accounts, because where do most people save their money when they're saving for retirement is in their 401ks, their IRAs, a lot of tax-deferred accounts. So those monies haven't been taxed yet, and that conversation is to be had when you take it out or when you pass away and pass it on to somebody else. So there has to be a mixture there, I would think.
Yeah, sometimes we see people add all sorts of debt into the life insurance. My contention is this when you have debt. Number one is figure out why you have the debt. If you have $5,000, $20,000, $50,000 in credit card debt, you need to ask yourself why. If it's because of an event, somebody was sick, laid off, fire, died, right? Okay, there's an event. If but for that event, there would not be this amount of debt. Okay, I'm good with that. The other side of it is very simple. If but for that debt that you have, it's nickel and diming, a little bit overspending, a little bit of this, a little birthdays and Christmas. You don't understand. We wanted to take a vacation. Well, that's great. Back to the wants. Then that is a habit, meaning it doesn't matter if we pay it off when you refinance the house. It doesn't matter if we pay it off when you receive life insurance proceeds or a pay raise or you take money out of your retirement. It doesn't matter because you're going to be back in the same boat, 18, 24 months from now. So it's the habits that you have to work on. It's never the dollar figure, right? Remember this, if you're poor in the United States today, that means you have food, shelter, clothing. I don't mean, house on the hill and filet mignon. I'm not talking about that. But you have food, shelter, clothing. You have carpet. You have a cell phone. You have heat. You most likely have air conditioning. Now, I'm not talking about the Appalachian Mountains or somebody who's living, in a camper or out on the street. Some of those are choices. Some of those are circumstances. But I would say, I don't know, my experience have been 95% plus are choices. Addiction, mental illness, choices, period. But other than that, right, poor in America means you have food, shelter, clothing, and air conditioning and heat and a cell phone. How do we keep you from being one of those people who just exist? You might think it's no big deal. Folks, I see people, used to, when I was a Los Angeles policeman, I used to see people all the time that had circumstances lead them to the street. Now, they weren't there very long because there are tons of services. If you go hungry today, it's because, one, you're lazy and you don't want to get up and go to the food pantry. Or two, you have just decided you're too prideful. Either way, well, that's your problem. But if you have children, shame on you. Get up off your fanny and go to help the children. It's a food pantry right here. Go to the Santa Clarita food pantry. It's the second food pantry right here in Santa Clarita. This is the holiday season, right? Start thinking about this. Because if somebody is counting on you financially when you're alive, do you want to put them in that position when you pass away? I get it. They're your children. You said she's your wife. He's your husband. I got it. What's going to change when you pass away? Nothing. Except we're going to have a car wash to bury you. We're going to have a GoFundMe page so that the kids can buy new shoes. Really? You want them to carry your last name and have that kind of pride walk around? Folks, come on, man. We're a generous society. But while you still can, change your habits so you don't become somebody who's consistently and constantly broke. Understand life insurance. If you qualify, if you can buy some, buy it. Stay away from accidental death insurance. In my opinion, it's a scam because it just almost never pays off when people think it should. Accidental death, stay away from it. JCPenney's makes more money on accidental death, I think. I got to look at the numbers. If not more, almost as much as they do on selling clothes and stuff. If they close down the whole operations, sell the property, whatever property they own, and just keep the JCPenney accidental death, it's a profitable company because you almost never have to pay. So don't use that as a primary. You want to get a couple, $4 a month for $1 million or whatever it is. I don't care. You need real life insurance, whether it's term, whether it's whole life, whether it's universal life. You buy as much as you can afford and you take care of your family. We're going to take a break. I'm Arif Halaby, folks. That's Jeff Gerard. Your place for news, talk, and information. Your hometown station. This is KHTS. We'll be right back.
Drugs or alcohol abuse can tear a family apart. In Santa Clarita, just like everywhere else, it's an epidemic. The Way Out Recovery is here to help. Call them now at 296-4444 or visit them on the web at thewayoutrocoveryscv.com. The Way Out offers outpatient treatment for adolescents, adults, and family members. The Way Out is compassionate, caring, professional, and confidential. You and your family don't have to suffer any longer. Call the Way Out Recovery now, 296-4444, or visit thewayoutrocoveryscv.com and make an appointment. Asking for help is the first step.
Remember when you and your sweetheart would go ice skating, gliding across the ice hand in hand? Well, relive those magical moments at Ice Station Valencia during any of our daily public sessions. The Ice Station Coffee Club, our Monday to Friday noontime skate for adults only, is a great place to socialize while getting in healthy ice skating exercise. For beginners, there's a free skating lesson every Tuesday and Thursday. Ice Station, across the street from Valencia High. Call 775-8686 or check icestation.net for ice skating fun.
With Facey Medical Group, good health is within your reach. Our doctors provide Santa Clarita's finest primary and specialist care at 4 convenient Santa Clarita locations. If you're looking for connected, convenient, personal care, there's no better place. We accept most health insurance, including plans offered through Covered California. Call 1-844-MY-FACEY for more information or to schedule an appointment.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association has a new gallery in downtown Newhall on 6th Street between Main and Railroad, right across from the Canyon Theater Guild. The gallery features our members' paintings, sculptures, and one-of-a-kind handcrafted gift items. Whether you're an art lover, buyer, or an artist wishing to join, visit our website at santaclaritaartist.org, come to our free monthly meetings at Barnes & Noble, or stop by the gallery. For upcoming events and exhibits, check us out at santaclaritaartist.org. We make visual art visible.
Winter is coming to Aliento. Join us this Saturday from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Aliento Winter Wonderland. Take pictures with Santa, visit with Elsa the Snow Queen, play in real snow and more. Then tour the model homes in our 4 distinct neighborhoods, including our new 55-plus community. That's this Saturday, December 2nd, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Terrace at Aliento, just off the 14 at Golden Valley Road in Santa Clarita. See you there. For more information, visit alientoliving.com/winterwonderland.
I love it.
Right on!
Your hometown station.
Thanks for listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Hey, welcome back to the show, Total Financial Solutions, Safer Money Hour. We'll be back in just a second here. We're going to be finishing the show here in about 6 minutes, folks. Hey, listen, part of what we're doing is how are you going to handle your family's finances when the person with the knowledge, the breadwinner maybe, but certainly the person with the knowledge passes away, right? And says, hey, listen, the accounts, the phone numbers, the account numbers, the files, they're all over there. How many times have I sat with couples, Jeff, and the wife, or usually it's the wife, sometimes it's the husband, but they'll say things like, you know what, that's his thing. I just work. I take care of the family, the kids.
Sure.
Or I'm an executive at a company, and I don't have time for it. So he manages the finances. I am an attorney or a physician. Or I just have my life, and he does that.
We see it a lot. And guess what? When that person that handled all those things is no longer, guess who's in charge of all that?
That's right.
And you're the kindergartner when it comes to managing the finances. And you can say, I don't know what I'm doing here, and you better get a team together really quickly. But wouldn't it have been nice to have been involved a little bit at least along the way.
And I understand if it's yucky to you. I understand if you don't like it. I understand if it's, not your thing, or you failed economics in high school or whatever it was. I get it. And oh, by the way, today we use dollars and credit cards, and you make money when you go to work, and a paycheck has your name on it. A bank account is your name. So that's nice that you don't like it. I get it. And so what? Put on your big girl, shorts and let's get to work here, or your big boy pants, right? How many times have I seen men who go, listen, I'm the artist, I'm the musician, and my wife handles everything. That's all nice, but where in the daylights are the account numbers? Who do you call? How much is on your credit cards? How much is your car payment? Who is your auto insurance person, right? These things, I'm going to emphasize this. The first step, we're going to take this in baby steps. The first step is to have all of that stuff be located in one place. I don't care if it's written down, put in the safe at home, or if it's on the computer. And from a computer standpoint, it's a file. Make sure you have the passcode to get into the computer. Right?
Good point.
Make sure you understand where the file is. Walk through it 2 or 3 times a year, where you sit down with the spouse. You don't have to look at the numbers. You don't have to know everything. Just say, okay, you see how I open it up? I'm on the screen. You click over here. You type in this. You click over here, and here's everything. Everybody's phone number, Arif's phone number, all the accounts we have with Arif and Total Financial Solutions. Put it all down here. Call him. Now, we give our clients a notebook. In the back of the notebook is an 800 number, and it says, in case of emergency, call us. And we have our phone number there. And that means we take care of everything. We even put it in writing. There's no fee to meet with us and to call us. And how many times do clients come to our office after somebody's passed away, and they're clutching that notebook that we gave them with all the accounts that we have and an account summary, transfer histories all in there, where the accounts came from, where they went, and that transfer history is on the front page once you open their folder. And on the back, it says to call us. And we take care of everything.
I can't think of one that hasn't done that.
It's a very stressful time, and I think it's a process, but I want you to know where the things are located. If they're with us, we put it in a notebook, but not everybody does that. So have it in a piece of paper or in a folder on paper, or a folder in your computer.
Yeah, the last thing you want is for, and I've told this story before, but a relative told me that her grandmother thought that after her husband passed away that she had no more money when she wrote her last check in her checkbook. That's how far out of touch she was. Now, mind you, this is the greater generation, and I see less and less of that anymore, but still there is a huge disconnect in some families' finances, so just make sure that you don't leave that person clueless.
Yeah, and an understanding, I want the whole family to be in on a conversation. We just had it just last night with our kids, and we had a little family meeting about financial stuff, because now all of them have jobs, and the kids are still in school. Some of them are finishing, some of them are getting ready to go back, and all of that stuff is happening. We say, here's the guidelines, and here's the outline of what you have to do. So family meeting, maybe just between you and your spouse, or you and the kids, so that if something happens to you, folks, it is not the lotto when you receive a life insurance claim. It's the gift to be managed properly, to provide for the rest of your life, or forever how long that they lay it out. Thanks for listening. I'm Arif Halaby. That's Jeff Gerard. We're Total Financial Solutions. Save for money on your hometown station, KHTS.
KHTS Country